joining us for another segment of Thai Law Forum's Entrepreneurs in Thailand series, where small business owners share their experiences and business insights. Today I'm talking to Simon Mott, who co-founded an addiction treatment center in Thailand called Hope Rehab Center Thailand. The inspiration to open a rehab center in Thailand.
I was managing quite a large operation in Thailand already. The cabin Chiang Mai. It's also relatively new, about 3 to 4 years old. So I was there and I helped develop the cabin to quite a large facility. So the reason I say that is because that's one of the reasons I felt like it was time for a change, because I'd achieved quite a lot there and felt that I no longer could really grow there.
Yeah.
And I wanted a new challenge.
How has your history and your background as a recovering addict affected your evolution as a businessman?
Yeah, I suppose, we often say in recovery, we always say about ourselves as addicts, if only we could channel the same energy that we put into our addiction, if we only could channel that into something positive. So, and that's been basically true for me. I've channeled all the skills I had before I was an active addict, or that I picked up during my active addiction. I've channeled those into my working life now, and that energy as well.
So could you walk me through opening your business, especially how were you able to open a 9-bedroom full treatment facility, and what went into getting your vision off the ground?
Okay, yeah, it is not an easy task. Anyone who's thinking of doing it, it's a huge undertaking. So first of all, we had to find a location that was attractive to prospective clients, but also strategically viable, accessible, and being in Thailand, having the infrastructure, local infrastructure and resources that we needed. So there's a lot of thought and research went into it. I finally decided on Sriracha, because Sriracha is a medium-sized city with all the resources we needed, but not too much tourism, so there's not too much temptation here for anyone coming to rehab, but enough local places of interest to be attractive. So it was balanced in many ways. Yeah, where also we could find hospital and the medical facilities we needed very close by. Smiti Bay Hospital, which is a highly reputable institution in Thailand. In terms of employees and getting local people to help, there was many trained and skilled people around and available. That's one of the main challenges, finding the right location.
Could you discuss the funding for your business? How were you able to get the funding to get your business off the ground?
To be honest, I funded it myself.
Okay.
There were options to get investors, but of course investors want control, or they want something back in return. Usually, I have to say, not always, but I was very fortunate to have accumulated enough money to resource and finance the operation myself. And the other part is I've been rapidly successful, so I immediately started taking in money that I have channeled into the business. In fact, everything I've earned, which has been fair, has gone into the business.
Running a drug rehab center can be a highly lucrative and competitive venture. How do you determine what affordable treatment is while still running a successful business?
Affordable treatment? Well, if you look across the world, basically Europe and the United States, but Australia also, we do get a lot of clients from Australia. You'll take the average cost of treatment, which is around $20,000 US. So that's quite a lot of money for anyone. In the US, for example, and Australia, insurance companies do cover most of that for a lot of people.
Okay.
But there's a client group who can't access insurance across the world, in other countries, don't have the insurance, and some insurers these days won't cover rehab. So $20,000 is probably an amount set by the insurance companies, really.
Okay.
Yeah, that they're willing to pay. So we have to be a lot less than that for private paying customers. We hope to take insurance one day, but I'm not taking insurance quite deliberately at the moment. Yeah,
Okay.
I want to get more. I want to achieve stability financially because insurers can take a long time to pay. So I'll probably do that in my second or third year.
Compared to $20,000, your $9,000 program is significantly cheaper. Are you able to stay successful maintaining that price?
Well, it's we're fortunate on many levels. Obviously, being in Thailand cuts costs for many things, particularly local staff. But the fact we're in Thailand attracts Western trained and qualified counsellors and therapists who are willing to work for less than they would be at home in the UK, let's say, because it's more of an adventure coming out to Thailand. And local costs as well for housing and food reduce the need for a higher salary. So we're able to keep salaries lower than you would in the UK. That's one of the main costs for a rehab, to be honest. But then there's also the facility itself. A comparable facility would be 3 times the price in the UK or America. So that also helps us to keep the price low. Bureaucracy, there is quite a lot of bureaucracy, as anyone who works in Thailand knows, but it's not too expensive if you've got a good law firm helping you.
Could you tell me a little bit about some of the challenges you've run into with bureaucracy and how you've overcome them?
Licensing is not straightforward when it comes to rehab. They have probably an old system, a system particular to Thai culture in terms of rehab licensing. They are open to development around that. And I know that the Thai system is keen to get up to date in terms of rehab methods, and ours, of course, is the latest contemporary model of rehab approach. But unfortunately, their system is a bit behind in terms of the criteria necessary to license. But luckily, they allow us to operate whilst the application is going through. So, that's slow, that side of it. We are licensed as a business, of course. We wouldn't operate otherwise. The rehab license takes time to fulfill all the criteria. Work permits are frustrating, particularly in intensive environments such as rehab. Needs quite a lot of staff. Getting work permits is a lot of work, as anyone who knows who needs outside staff. When I say outside, I mean international staff. In Thailand, it's complex and drawn out. You could say drawn out, but we're getting there.
And besides the licensing and regulations, have there been any other difficulties with starting your business in Thailand?
Not really, I have to be honest. I suppose it's been relatively smooth going. I suppose like many people running businesses in Thailand, the main part is the insecurity, the political situation. Realistically, it hasn't affected us.
Okay.
But it could do. When you use terms like coup d'etat and demonstrations in the capital city, in many places in the world, that means get out as fast as possible. It just happens that Thailand, it doesn't. And those of us who know Thailand well know that it's safe and know that it's, the way they do things is quite different, to that of the Middle East, for example. But it's a little insecure. A bit of stability would be helpful. They seem to change rules and regulations at a drop of a hat. So never too extreme, to be honest. Everyone gets around them or over them or goes with them in one way or another. We manage, but a bit of consistency around immigration law and company law would help.
And do you think Thailand is headed in the right direction as far as addressing those inconsistencies?
Well, anyone who reads the Bangkok Post regularly would probably agree with me when I say I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Some of the proposed new regulations targeted at international business coming into Thailand are very worrying. They don't affect me because I'm a local business at the end of the day. But when you see a country proposing such significant changes, it worries you because you think, what else could they do? You know, and who's proposing some of the new regulations that are worrying a lot of the bigger businesses in this country. So you pick up the Bangkok Post, and there's often a worrying article saying they're proposing such and such changes. And you think, my God, if they do that, it could decimate the international business community in Thailand. Why would they want to do that? So yeah, there are things that I do question.
Was starting a business in Thailand different than you thought it would be?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. And to be honest, this business I've started in Thailand. I probably wouldn't have started it anywhere else in the world. I've only started it because I'm here in Thailand, and in fact there are many benefits to running such an operation in Thailand, and I believe the future of this type of business, healthcare in particular, is very much in Asia for Westerners, because we've priced ourselves out of the market. So despite me having some negative comments around stability and some rules and regs, today I'm very grateful that I'm able to do what I'm doing here in Thailand, and I wouldn't want that to be, misunderstood in any way.
What would be your advice to people starting similar ventures in Thailand with regards to tackling the licensing, the work permits, and things like that?
My advice is you need help, good help. Not so easy to find because rehab's quite unique. Yeah, so if you want a bar license or you want a hotel license, bar license, of course many existing law offices have been through that licensing process, but not the rehab process. It's quite unique. So you need to find a decent lawyer who's willing to put a lot of work in on your behalf to do that, and local people are very useful. I've got a lot of help from someone who's a Thai national who knows the ins and outs, so I'm lucky.
Okay, and then could you talk a little bit more about what is your philosophy for drug treatment?
And it's quite simple, really. Our philosophy is one addict can best help and understand another addict. So simply put, the people who work here and help here, work or they're volunteers or visitors, are already addicts in recovery, and so they help the struggling addicts, and they can best understand what it's like to be a struggling addict. So that's a sort of a core philosophy of ours. Also, we approach the disease, as we understand it, as a disease. So addiction is a disease, yeah? It's been established and proven to be a disease by neurologists, basically. It's a brain disease. So part of the philosophy is that addiction is a disease, and so we treat it like a disease, yeah? And it's a chronic disease, so it doesn't go away and there is no cure, so it needs regular treatment, like diabetes or heart disease. You would change your diet and introduce fitness and health, address your general health. It's the same with addiction.
Are you aware of the government's voluntary drug rehab program and free treatment centers?
Oh, I am, yes, voluntary and forced treatment. Many Thais are sentenced to treatment, but also they can admit them voluntarily. I've actually done voluntary work in such institutions. So yes, I'm quite familiar with their system. I believe they have 461 licensed rehabs across Thailand, so there's plenty of beds.
And what's your opinion of the free government program?
I think they're trying, I personally, my opinion of Thai healthcare for the domestic Thai healthcare for Thai nationals, I have a very high opinion of it. I think many people are mistaken to believe that, it's a poor country and most people can't afford basic necessities. It's not true. The truth is, a public healthcare system, and they get all their basic needs met in that respect. So I think I'm absolutely, positive about their the fact that they have so many rehabs across the country and beds available. They could do with some help regarding, the culture, regarding their program, and being more open to letting in new ideas, as you would expect. So I'm very positive. The infrastructure is there. It's just a bit of tweaking, and they could use their infrastructure really well. and they need to, because there's as we all know, a big addiction problem in alcoholism and addiction in Thailand.
What do you think is unique about owning a business in Thailand?
Well, you get to live in Thailand. Mm-hmm. This is one of the benefits, I don't know about unique, but benefits. And spiritual element of Thailand, has really enhanced our program. So, and Buddhism, which is more of a lifestyle, even the religion. And so our clients really benefit from the Buddhist philosophy and seeing Thai people, no matter rich or poor, living by that philosophy, and respecting, their Buddha and their religion, no matter what, and living by, by the principles of karma and helping each other. So that really helps break the selfish and self-centered essence of addiction that addicts have.
What's your most memorable experience as an entrepreneur in Thailand?
It's been interesting employing Thai people. They can be so dedicated, more dedicated than Western staff. If they like you and they like your business and they believe in what they're doing, they will commit their whole life to it, and they'll be here and spend much time, on the job as possible and work so hard, but if they don't, then it can be a disaster, as everyone knows, and and can be quite frustrating. But my experience has been really positive. If it weren't for my Thai staff, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I'm so grateful for the work and the efforts of the gardeners, the builders that I employ, the domestic staff, the cleaners, the cooks. I mean, if it weren't for them, the clients wouldn't get such a great experience, to be honest with you. They produce beautiful food, and they're very service-minded, aren't they, and gentle people, so they make the clients feel comfortable immediately. So I'm so grateful to be here in Thailand. I would not get that in the UK or America. I'll just get demands of what they want.
How do you define success in business?
For me personally, it's going to bed each night, knowing that I've done the best job I can, particularly in this field, helping others. It's like building something, building something from the foundation up and seeing it growing. It's terribly exciting. It's more exciting than the bank balance. It's certainly not about the money. All my life I thought it's what I really want is money, but of course it's not. I've got money and it's not what I want. It's helping other people. It's being part of a family. A business is like a family, right? A successful business, and and you find a group of people that you get on with, and you work well together. They benefit, you benefit, the customer benefits, and you go to bed. At the end of the day, where that's happened, what more can I want? It's given me a meaning and purpose to my life and the people around me. So it's fulfilling for me and fulfilling for others. I want this company to go on long after I have moved on, whether it's, when I leave this earth or I move on and retire, whatever it is. So I want to build something that's going to stay and exist after me. So that's what I'm trying to set up, that it won't be dependent on me, because it's providing a valuable service. People are getting clean and changing their lives, and they've stopped harming themselves and harming society and harming other people around them. So this needs to go on, and we definitely fulfill the gap in the market, because we're inundated with applicants. People want to come here, so there's a need for this service, so it must go on beyond myself and Alon Kamsawat, who actually, is my Thai partner, not to be forgotten.
How is running a successful business different than you thought it would be?
When I came into this business, it was a big risk, believe me. It was a big risk to move down here and open this business. Partly because I wasn't sure I could trust Thailand and its bureaucracy and some of the hoops I had to go through. Partly because I didn't know that I'd get enough customers to sustain us. But of course it's been the opposite. It's going really well. It's quite the opposite. I'm basically bursting at the seams. I've got waiting lists and so on. So that's a surprise. I didn't think it would grow as fast as it has. But I suppose it's also really reassuring to know that the team including Ty's and anyone else on the team, are so supportive. Reinforces my faith in human nature.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. This is Jess with Ty Law Forum.